Hey guys, it is April from Getting Hugge with It. I am here to do a huge unhaul for you, and this is so big I have to split it into two parts. I am getting rid of 80 books on my shelves, so I've got 40 here for you now. In a whole other video I'm going to do 40 more. The reason that I'm getting rid of these books are kind of twofold. First of all, I'm getting new bookshelves, which is very exciting. I'm getting them in early October. I realize it's still summer, but I want to prepare for it. So I'm getting 3 bookcases. This bookcase is going to go into the other room. And I'm really excited for that. But I realized that there were some books on my shelves that just weren't bringing me joy. Either I'd read them and didn't give them more than 4 stars. So my rule is if it's 4 or 5 stars, I keep them on my shelves. If they're anything below it, they go. But mostly these are books that are unread that I just don't want to read. I just don't want to read them. I might have picked them up for one reason or another, and then I just realized I don't want to read them. Also, so if there are books on this video that you really love, I'm so glad that you've enjoyed them, but they're not something that I want. By the time this goes live, this is already going to be done. So I know sometimes in my other unhauls, people will be like, keep this one. And I'm just like, no, they're gone. Like, I'm bringing them to the library tomorrow. Yes, let's get into it. So 40 books. I am not going to go into detail about these 40 books, but I'm just going to say the name, move on. First up is The Lacunae by Barbara Kingsolver. For all of these books, I read the first few pages, and if they weren't grabbing me and if the blurb on the back wasn't grabbing me, I was just like, why do I have these on my shelf? So this one wasn't grabbing me. It is beautiful. I think it's one of the most lovely looking covers, but I'm sure someone else would get more out of this than me. So that's gotta go. This one I'm just finished reading this morning while I'm filming this. It was Between Shades of Grey by Rita Sepetys. I still haven't decided on a star rating. I think it might be a 2-star for me. This is YA. It felt like YA. It's historical fiction, yes, but it still felt very juvenile to me, and I just didn't care while I was reading it. I didn't care about any of the characters. So we follow a girl who's living in Siberia. She's moved to Siberia from Lithuania because of Stalin and his reign in World War II. And there were so many instances where there are these major characters, and yet they're referred to as the bald man or the man who winds his watch. And I just couldn't stand it. I also listened to the audiobook of this, and it was very bad. So, yeah, no, I've got to get rid of that. That's driving me actually crazy. Annexed, another World War II. This is, I believe, another YA World War II where it follows a man who was in love with Anne Frank, or a boy who was in love with Anne Frank, and his story. Yeah, I just don't need it on my shelves. I don't need it. I don't need it. Gretl and the Dark by Eliza, Granville. This is a kind of, well, it's a World War II horror book where we follow a girl named Gretl, I guess, and her father is someone who's a scientist and works on prisoners or Jewish people in concentration camp. I started reading the first few pages and it just wasn't hooking me. I really love the cover of this. I think it's really stunning, but I know I'm never going to pick it up, so it's got to go. This one I'm only getting rid of because the copy is so bad. Daphne du Maurier's Hungry Hill. I will read all of Daphne du Maurier at some point or another, but this is very tiny and just, it's yellowed and it's just not very well kept, and so I'd rather search for a new edition of this. So that is the plan. I am also going to get rid of the 12 Tribes of Hattie. mostly because there's a lot about motherhood in this, and right now I don't want to read about motherhood very much. So who knows if this will like come back into my life at some point, but right now it's really not calling to me. Oh, I'm also getting to get rid of The Sacrifice by Joyce Carol Oates. I would like to read Joyce Carol Oates, but I don't want to start here. I'm not actually sure where to start with Joyce Carol Oates. So if you have any suggestions, I would love to know. I do think that I have We Were the Mulvaneys, which I think is by her. But I've heard she's good at like horror as well. So if you know any horror by Joyce Carol Oates that I should read, please let me know. I am also getting rid of Suite Française by Irene Nemirovsky. I'm really kind of sad about this because Irene Nemirovsky actually lived through World War II. She lived for part of World War II. She lived in France. She was actually killed during World War II. This is a novel of hers that was published, I believe, after World War II and was discovered. I couldn't get into it. The fear was really gripping. Like you could feel these people's fear, but I just wasn't pulled in by the characters. And so I think I gave this 3 stars, but yeah, that should stay on my shelves. Now you guys will be proud of me, or you'll be really upset with me. I've been talking for a long time about getting rid of all of the Philippa Gregory on my shelves. I read one and really didn't like it. Like genuinely did not like it. So I'm getting rid of The Other Queen, The Virgin's Lovers, The Queen's Fool. No, where are all of the others? The Taming of the Queen, The Boleyn Inheritance, The Other Boleyn Girl, The White Queen, The Red Queen, The Lady of the Rivers. This was the one that started all of this unhauling. 3 Sisters, 3 Queens. Hated it. The Constant Princess. And The White Princess. So those are gone. They're leaving my shelves. They've been driving me nuts. I felt really guilty that I had bought all of those and hadn't even read them yet. And then when I read Three Sisters, 3 Queens, I hated it. And so I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do here? And I felt really guilty. And now it's just like, why? Why am I feeling guilty? Just get rid of them. They're not good for you. So moving forward, we've got a little bit of a mix of nonfiction, self-helpy kinds of stuff, and also fiction. So I've got You and Your Future, which is kind of about the astrological signs. I'm a Taurus, and I'm always into that. But this one just didn't go into too much detail the way that I would want, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm also getting rid of The Almost Moon by Alice Sebold. This had really low ratings on Goodreads, and I started reading some of the pages at the beginning, and it's just not feeling it, so that's got to go. I'm also getting rid of Miracles Now by Gabrielle Bernstein. I have read a few of Gabrielle Bernstein's books. I think I only liked her first book, and the rest of them seem to be, I don't know, kind of money grabs. Like this is, I just don't buy it anymore. Every chapter there's like 108 things that you can do. Live in a judgment-free zone. Have it all. Rest, relax, restore, and she'll like help you get those things. No. I am getting rid of Reading People by Anne Bogle. The only reason that I'm getting rid of this, I mean, Anne Bogle actually sent this to me and signed this copy, and I really do appreciate it. But I feel like I got everything that I needed out of it. This is a really great intro crash course on personality tests. So You've got things, basic things like, are you an introvert or an extrovert? You've got the Enneagram here, Strength Finders, the 5 love languages. So it's really a great crash course. And I would recommend it to anyone wanting to get into that kind of thing. I think it could serve someone else more at this point. I'm also getting rid of I Capture the Castle by Jodie Smith. This was a really cute book, but I wasn't blown away the way I thought I was going to be. And so I'm going to pass that along to someone who will, I'm sure, love it. The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. I don't like any of Shonda Rhimes' TV shows. Like, she's the creator of Grey's Anatomy, and I can't even remember what else. Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, and I've never liked any of those shows, and so I have a feeling that I'm not going to really connect with this book, so that's got to go. I'm also getting rid of The Smell of Other People's Houses. I heard it's YA, that's why I'm getting rid of it. Okay, so this one has a funny story. I'm getting rid of Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. I read this already a while ago. I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. But I you know how I go to library sales? Well, one time I went to a library sale and I was talking to her about books. One of the librarians. I was talking to one of the librarians about books, and she said, oh, you know, I've been looking for The Nightingale for so long and I've not been able to find it. And so I promised myself, like, next time I see this, I was going to pick it up for her. And so I picked it up, and then I saw her the other day and I said, did you ever get The Nightingale? And she's like, yes. And I was like, ooh. So this will go on to hopefully another librarian who wants to read The Nightingale. Okay, tons more like self-help stuff. Bright Side Up, 100 Ways to Be Happier Right Now by Amy Spencer. Now, Amy Spencer wrote a book called Meeting Your Half Orange, and that book was wonderful for me when I was single. I really needed to read a book like that. And it really is about finding your soulmate. And I think it did help me. But this didn't. It's just very, like, it's too generic. And so it's just not calling to me anymore. So I'm going to get rid of that. I am also getting rid of Marianne Williamson's Illuminata. This is essentially a book of prayers. And it's funny, I couldn't find anything in here, especially right after my miscarriage. I was looking for something to help me, and this didn't comfort me. And so I thought, okay, if it's not comforting me at this time, I think it's got to go. I'm going to get rid of Blog Inc. I used to have a blog called Adorn Inc. a long time ago, and I really wanted to, you know, bulk it up, and so I bought this book. And she, the woman who wrote this is Joy from Oh Joy. She's a famous blogger, and it was fine at the time, but it's very old at this point, so it's probably outdated. So I'm gonna pass that on. Exciting. The Chicago Manual of Style. Goodbye. I am also getting rid of Virgin, The Untouched History. I was very interested in virginity for a very long time in my life because I was a virgin for a very long time in my life, and I wanted to wait for the right person. That didn't happen, but I was fascinated by virginity for a long time, and this is the history of it, which is interesting, but I think I read just a bit of it and then I was done, and so yeah, I don't need this on my shelves. I'm also getting rid of The Blue Zones, Lessons for Living Longer from the People Who've Lived the Longest. It is a really interesting book, and I remember getting a lot out of this, but I don't really need to go through it all over again, I don't think, so I'm going to pass that along. I'm also going to pass along the Newlyweds Instruction Manual, which is very, very sweet. My best friend gave this to me right after we got married, and it's really, really cute about how to live together after you get married, and I think it's sweet. I'm just going to pass it on to someone else now. I'm also going to get rid of Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. I wasn't blown away by this book the way that a lot of other people have been. I feel like I missed something. I listened to this on audio and I just thought it was okay. And I do want to read more by Roxane Gay because I think I'm missing out on something pretty great. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to pass this one on and probably pick up something else by her instead. I'm also going to get rid of The Soulmate Secret by Ariel Ford, another book that I read when I was single and did help, not the same way that Meeting Your Half Orange did, because I'm keeping that on my shelves because it made such an impact on my life. But this is a good one as well. I enjoyed it. So I'm going to pass that on to someone who is hoping to find the love of their lives. I have had this book for such a long time now. I got this when I was at Queen's. I graduated from Queen's in 2003. So I don't even know how long that is. Decades. 2 decades around? Probably. I'm getting rid of The Myths of Motherhood, How Culture Reinvents the Good Mother, because I think I have been clinging on to the idea that I will be a mother, and I really do want to be a mom, but I don't need a book about it. It just feels weird on my shelf, so it's going. I'm also getting rid of Enchanted Love by Marianne Williamson. I enjoyed this when I read it. I remember really, really liking it, but I don't think I need this anymore. Younger by the Day by Victoria Moran. Victoria Moran wrote Creating a Charmed Life, and I really loved that book. This is like a day-by-day kind of thing. July 1st, Free to Be. September 4th, Your Burgeoning Intuition. I don't know, it's just like little things to read and think about every day throughout the year. But I think I prefer her other books, so I'm going to pass that on to someone else. And then the last one is actually a fiction book, if I can pick it up. It's the Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. I know so many people who have loved this, but it's been sitting on my shelves for a while now, and there's been absolutely no part of me that's wanted to pick it up, so I think that means it should go. Okay, that's 40 books down. This is, before I even edit this, it's like 20 minutes long. I'm so glad I split this up into 2. So I'm going to unhaul the others now. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed watching me unhaul. This means I get to have more books on my shelves that I'm really excited about. It means all of the books on my shelves have either really meant something to me or are going to hopefully mean something to me. I feel really good about this. So let me know in the comments below what you have unhauled lately that has made you feel like a weight has been lifted off of your shoulders. I would love to know, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!